Playbook, a podcast that explores what it takes to create a thriving career right here in the retail auto industry. I'm your host, Michael Cirillo. So delighted that you're joining me today for this episode where I'm going to share 4 or 5, maybe 6 tools that are going to help increase productivity at your store. I'm super excited to dig into this subject matter today. Productivity is something that I love, keeping track, being organized. There are a lot of visionary people out there and we love them, but sometimes it's difficult to get things organized in order to build that pyramid. And I see this all the time at dealerships, not just dealerships, any business. Heck, I've seen it in my own business, which is why I'm excited to share with you 4 tools and a bonus tool. You got to stick around till the end where I'm going to share a bonus alternative tool that I have grown to love that are going to help you get organized. Make it so that things do not fall through the cracks. Now, I know in the auto industry, we talk about standard tools. We talk about your content management system or your website. We talk about your digital retailing tools. We talk about your CRM. We talk about your DMS. We talk about inventory. And we talk about all of those essential softwares or services that are going to help promote you. But we very rarely, very seldom speak to the tools that you could be using, implementing as a team to help everybody get organized, to rally around the same campfire, to ride the same wave, and even go one step further to be on the same surfboard. Make sure you're all ending up in the same destination. And so I want to speak to 4 or 5 tools that I use in my agency over at Flex Dealer that we have grown to love, that we have vetted, not just recently. It's like I didn't just read an article about these and now I'm bringing them to you because I thought it was a good, fancy, fluffy idea. These are actual tools that we use internally, which help us, I think, hyper relevant to everything that's going on in the world today with the whole COVID thing and remote workers and things of that nature. For myself, having employees in office and also a growing workforce of remote workers, these are tools that we've been using for years. These are tools that we have an intimate understanding of, and that's why I'm bringing them to you. I mean, come on, guys, I'm only bringing you information that I believe in so deeply. And so this is going to be kind of a rapid fire. I want to bring these tools to you. Again, the goal of me sharing this is so that you increase your team productivity. You get a better understanding of what's happening, what is on the docket, so that you can fulfill on expectations, do so in a timely manner, keep communication going. And you all know how much I love communication. In fact, I say to my team all the time, especially to today's standard of communication, which is all text, emoji, simple sentences. We write sentences and text messages in bullet form now. Just saying, hi, you coming home, pick up milk. So I say to my team all the time, predicated upon today's standard of communication, that if you feel like you are over communicating, I can assure you, you are barely communicating enough. You're just kind of squeaking by. And that's because I think our level of communication in today's society with all of the devices and stuff has greatly diminished. So productivity, communication, organization, structure, build that foundation, build solid foundation. Now, the other, vain ambition that I have here in bringing these tools to you is because I know that the minute you can implement a more organized structure internally for your business, you're gonna get to a point where you'll be able to stop revisiting issues that stem from structural or foundational problems. Those, and I've talked about this on the show before with guests. When you watch one of those home reno shows and they're like, okay, yeah, our budget's $100,000 and we want a new kitchen and we want to knock that wall out and let's update the bathroom. These are the things we will be able to do inside of that $100,000. And the homeowners are like, yippee, right? What ultimately always happens is like a given in every episode. The cliffhanger is, hey, can we talk? Yeah, what's up? We've got an issue. And the issue is always what? We found a problem with the foundation. Oh, man. Yeah, there's a problem with the foundation, which means we need to divert some of that $100,000 budget. We might not be able to give you that bathroom because we need to take that budget now and fix the foundation so your house doesn't crumble. In our industry, our beloved automotive industry, we have been Band-Aid fixing the foundation because our focus has always been on the front end, get more sales. So these are things that I really see need to be implemented in an effort to help you understand the benefits of building a solid foundation from which you can then stack on top of into perpetuity without worrying about whether it's going to crumble. So let's dig into these tools. I'm going to tell you what they are. Full disclosure, I am not an affiliate of any of these, though I should be. But come on, man, this is the dealer playbook, right? If I'm ever going to make money off of anything I promote to you, you will know very, very transparently that I'm making money on the back end. And so these are, tools that I highly recommend that I'm not making any money. I'm not sponsored by any of these companies, but I know they're going to bring value to you. So I'm just going to spit them off. We're going to talk about them. I'm going to share with you some of the benefits that we've found. And then we're just going to go down the list. And of course, stay tuned for the end of this episode. I'm going to share actually a free alternative to one of these that we have actually adopted for, I would say, the better part of a year now without any noticeable change in, I guess, differences, but it is free. And I like free. So let's talk about the first one. Since I started on the whole communication spiel, the first tool that I would recommend is an internal messaging system called Slack. We've tried a lot of different alternatives. For the longest time in our company, we were using the built-in messenger inside of Gmail. But then we ultimately migrated over to Slack. Now, Slack comes with a per-person fee. I want to say it's between $6 and $10 a month. $6 and $10 a month US dollars. So if you're in Canada, add another 30% to that, sadly, right? But that's what it is. But ultimately, we felt like internally that was a good price so that we could improve the level of communication internally. Now, Slack is our digital or virtual equivalent of the water cooler, or when you just need to shoot out a message to one of your coworkers to get information on something. What's cool about Slack is you can communicate in real time, but if you set expectations like, hey, we're going to use this as an asynchronous communication platform, in other words, the expectation isn't always that you'll respond immediately, but that we can have these kind of conversations going continually. What's cool about it is you can create different channels inside of Slack for different topics. So here's how we use it internally at FlexDealer. I have a channel, a general channel, which all of my team members are a part of. This is for announcements and the water cooler chitter chatter, or to share your favorite meme, or to just kind of keep team communication alive, right? Then we have an executives channel, and that's reserved for me and my partners, where we have some higher level, heavier decision-making conversations. We also have an operations channel, and that's where I would have our brilliant operations director and one of, some of our executives, where we're discussing more about day-to-day operations and management and human resources and things of that nature, where we can have discussions, meaningful discussions about how to serve our team better. And of course, they're the only ones in there. Not everybody can see what goes on in that channel, or rather, they can't even see that channel. There's a revenue channel. So my revenue team meets in that channel. And that's where we have ongoing conversations about generating new revenue or upselling or client, prospective new clients or things of that nature. That's where we have those conversations. And only members of my revenue team are in that channel seeing those conversations. We have a client services channel. This is where key members of my client services team speak to client expectations, or how projects are progressing, or things that are needed in order to fulfill on client expectations. This is where we speak to hospitality and collaborate on ways that we can make the experience better for our client partners. Anyways, Slack is brilliant because it gives us a medium so that we're not just sitting on Zoom calls all day, taking up each other's precious time, but that we can have asynchronous communication with all members on our team to make sure that everybody is in the loop. Again, we implemented this because we know that we can't necessarily always pull people out of the zone, right? They're working on something. Your parts manager, your service manager, your client services director, your BDC director, your marketing director, your C-level executives, your owners, your principals, your operators. When you're in the zone, there is nothing worse than always being called out and being pulled out of the zone. And so we have Slack to help alleviate that, but keep the communication going forward. Again, I'm going to share a free alternative at the end of this episode, so stay tuned for that. It's something that we've actually, in full transparency, we have migrated out of Slack as a paid service, and we found a free alternative, which ironically is built on the exact same software, I guess you want to call it. It essentially feels exactly the same. So anyways, consider that. Consider ways that you can keep your entire team in the loop in a much more effective way, in a way that has communications threaded versus, everybody getting 7,000 emails all over the place. Let's move on to the next one. Keeping projects and tasks organized. Gosh, it makes me quiver a little bit thinking about how many tasks get swept under the rug or how many fall through the cracks. I've personally sat in marketing directors' offices where there are thousands of Post-it notes all over the place and with little to no context. And so half the time the poor marketing director's sitting there going, I don't even remember what that was about, but it's on my wall and it's making me feel overwhelmed, and because I don't know what it is, and then oops, it accidentally fell in the garbage. Right? So we use a tool for project management, and it's one that we've used now for more than, I would say, 6-7 years, and it is called Asana. Asana is really cool because it allows us in a very simple way to use it as a to-do list, but in a much more complex way to split out tasks based on individual projects, based on individual clients, or based on individual departments. So I could have a marketing department project, and inside of that project would live all of the tasks with due dates, assignees, the ability to upload files and have comments on things and collaboration on things. I could have a project for my parts department with all of the tasks of things that we want to have done there. This is a really brilliant way for everybody to make sure we can see visually that the ball is in fact moving forward. So for example, let's look at a real life scenario. You've left your meeting, and one of the action items is that you need to vet a new service provider. What Asana allows us to do is to break that out into a priority and list, assign, and give due dates to all of the individual tasks that need to happen in order for us to vet those service providers in an organized, documented fashion. Get rid of that 3-ring binder. What are you doing? Why are you taking notes there and chicken scratch here and there? No. When I want to vet something, I create a task that says vet X. And inside of that task, I can add notes and a description, and I can have comments, and I can tag members of my team that I want to have eyeballs on it and get their counsel and collaboration and their thoughts and maybe the questions they have. In a very real way, we are able to then see how the ball in fact moves forward on vetting that vendor. You know, for example, maybe you're about to hop on that call and you tag a bunch of your teammates and you say, hey, can you guys leave me some questions that you think I should ask when I get on this call? And they all go into the comments and they add their questions. And then you hop on the call with the potential new supplier. You ask all of the questions, but you also can take real-time notes. And so now everything is documented in one place. So now you go to your next manager's meeting and you open up Asana on your phone or on your laptop or on the big screen or whatever you're going to do, and you can discuss it and review all the notes that have been taken, and any further action items or clarification needs can be documented in real time and created as tasks and assigned to the appropriate individual on your team that is best equipped or has the bandwidth to do that. Okay. So that's Asana, Asana. It's a tool we love. It's a tool that we rely so very heavily upon. Now, speaking to getting things done, here's something that doesn't show up on your profit and loss statement. The impact of productivity in hours. So we go, a big mistake that I see business owners make is they go, hey, well, employee A makes $40,000 per year. The agreement is that they work up to 160 hours a month in exchange for $40,000 a year. Now, here's the challenge. Here's the additional impact on your organization that doesn't necessarily show up in your profit and loss statement, which ties into Asana, okay? Because Asana is really great at showing you what tasks need to be done, and you can put a due date on those tasks, but it doesn't really give you insights into how long it actually takes to accomplish the work. And so we assume like, hey, $40,000 a year is what they get paid, so everything else is irrelevant. Well, no, there's actually more to it. There is actually a multiple that needs to be added or potentially subtracted from that 40,000 in terms of time efficiency. Okay. So say you have a $40,000 a year employee, but they aren't good at the tasks that they've been assigned, and it takes them twice as long to complete those tasks each day than maybe somebody else that's more qualified. Well, all your profit and loss shows is the employee cost of $40,000 a year. It does not really do a good job at showing you the multiple on top of that. So what do we do internally to keep track of how much time it takes people? Well, there's two pieces to this. There's the software that helps us understand productivity in terms of how long it takes, but then there's the culture piece, and I'll speak to the culture piece afterwards. The software is called EverHour. It is a Chrome extension or like a plugin that goes into Chrome, and it ties into Asana. So my team members, when they begin a task, they can click the start timer button. And if they need to pause it, they can pause it. They can stop it. But in this way, we get very real reporting right down to the project level, right down to the task level on how much time is being invested by each employee. Prior to installing EverHour, we were going based strictly upon the due date. The challenge with that is if everything gets done inside of this preconceived idea of a due date, then we think it all is well. We don't get an understanding of that employee's progression. Are they becoming more efficient at their work? Are they able to complete things much quicker than maybe they were before? Or are we pigeonholing them into an overarching expectation whereby they might have gotten better at that task, but now they're biding their time because they're only working according to the due date? So EverHour allows us to add timers to tasks where they can start and stop their timer when they're working so that we can understand and actually very accurately track their effectiveness or their growth. It allows us in a very real way to look at numbers tied to tasks, tied to individuals, and have very real conversations about where we can fill in the gaps. This is the culture piece. Now, most people would be afraid of tracking their time because, oh dear, what if we are that inefficient? And look, if you're a manager and you're a big dick bag, this is a problem. In our organization, the culture is such that we believe deeply in people. We believe that people are greater than they give themselves credit for. We believe that we each have the potential to step into greatness and excel. I am living proof of that. Okay. I talk about, my own personal growth in my new podcast, the Real MC podcast. It's a little bit of a non sequitur, double entendre because my initials are very really MC. but the show isn't about me. It's about me sharing my story and how you can step into your greatness to become the real master of your ceremonies, okay? To live life on your terms. Which, of course, if you've been following this podcast for a while, you realize I don't really get into the nitty gritty of the tactics of the car business. It's more about you, the individual, stepping into your greatness. And so our culture is such where we're like, hey, so-and-so seems to be taking a little bit long here. Hey, would you go and see how we can help? Well, guess what? That's led to us realizing that our team might have needed more training. And so we go and start looking for a training platform or trainers or the best information that we can find to help them become better. And as a result of this, as a result of tracking what doesn't necessarily show up on the P&L, in conjunction with our culture to strive for excellence as one of our values, we have a team that is half the size of many of the other agency teams out there, but are miraculously able to accomplish 4 times as much. It's tremendous. And by the way, still bandwidth. So EverHour is something that I would look into as part of your productivity. Now you're going to need a secure place to store files. Gosh, the thought of how many people are searching through emails looking for attachments is scary, to say the least. So I would recommend a secure, centralized location, cloud storage location, so that whether you're working remotely or in person, everybody has a centralized place that they can go to organize files and assets and images and PDFs and things of that nature. Our team uses Dropbox, but we also use Google Drive because it comes as part of our Google, business suite. But these are 2 very real locations that, my design team, creative team use more the Dropbox side of things. And so they always know they can go to Dropbox to have, files automatically being uploaded and backed up, and they can go there and download files whenever they need. And very similarly for my marketing strategy consulting side of things, where they're using Google Drive primarily, that's where they go for all of the things they need to create documents, to collaborate on docs and spreadsheets and things of that nature. And so whether it's Google Drive, whether it's Dropbox, whether it's, one of the similar things out there, I would highly recommend having a centralized cloud storage backup for everything that you're doing so that you don't have to waste time. Again, back to the P&L. Cool. They get paid $40,000 a year, but quite literally a third of their time is spent trying to track down email attachments so that they can move forward in their work. Oh, nay, no. Don't do that. Have a place to, this is, again, we're talking about increasing productivity. So let's do a recap up to this point, and then I'm going to share the bonus alternative that I was talking about. And of course, if you want to get this list and any other tools that I think will benefit your productivity internally as a team, you can go over to thedealerplaybook.com/remote-tools to get the list and, of course, the show notes from this episode. So let's recap here. So we talked about Slack. That is your asynchronous instant messaging communication platform. We talked about Asana, which is your project management, task management platform. We talked about EverHour, which is your time tracking system that ties into Asana. And by the way, once EverHour is set up, it's not like you have to have all these tabs open. EverHour, the button then shows up inside of Asana, so you don't have to ever log into some separate whatever. And then the last thing that I talked about was Dropbox or similar, somewhere to securely back up and store your files. But let's talk about the free alternative to Slack. So this actually came from one of my team members, Colin. He's our creative director, if you will. He works a lot on our UI and user interfaces and user experience designs and things of that nature. He's also, a gamer, as some of the other members of my team are. And he came to me one morning and he said, hey, did you know there's another platform that's nearly, I would say 99.5% the exact same as Slack? And I said, oh, And he's like, yeah, and it's free. And I said, oh. And he said, but it's primarily been marketed to gamers, but I don't see why it couldn't be used for us. And I said, well, tell me it. And he says, well, let me show you. So he showed me. Sure enough, and Slack gods, please forgive me, but the thing is, about bringing value and maybe saving some money here. He opens it up and we look at them side by side and they're almost identical. The way they function, the keyboard shortcuts, the displays, So it's a platform called Discord, Discord, Discord. And Discord it functions the same way. You can create channels, you can add your team members, you can, have asynchronous communication going, you can upload your favorite animated memes and things of that nature. And it has worked brilliantly, but it also gave us some features that we didn't really want to pay extra for in Slack. And it just came bundled in because, again, this is a kind of a gamer's platform. And so it has tools for communicating for the dudes that wear the big headsets and, play their games together and all that kind of stuff. So it has this built-in real-time communication. You can actually do video calling, and screen sharing, and audio calling. So since we've installed Discord and migrated away from Slack, my team and I have not had a Zoom call because we can do those video calls right inside of Discord. We haven't had phone calls because we can actually call each other directly through Discord. By the way, it's a desktop and mobile app. I've got it on my phone and my mobile. We have our instant messaging for the things that don't need to be a phone call or a meeting. And we can do screen sharing. So when I hop on a team meeting with the members of my team, one of us can share our screen while on the voice call or a video call so that we're all looking at the same thing together. And would you believe it's free? It's free. Now, my honest review is the one thing it misses that we loved in Slack is that Slack allowed you to create threaded messaging. In other words, if I wanted to respond, because sometimes chat messages can start flying. If I wanted to respond specifically to a message that was now starting to float up the screen, I could click on that message, click reply, and it would open up a panel and I could see a threaded, like we could just speak to that thing in a separate threaded conversation. Discord does not have that. However, we didn't feel like that was enough of a miss in order for us to say, but I'm saving myself now $300 a month US to be able to move into this free alternative. And usually I'm not a big proponent of cheap alternatives, but because Discord has been around for so long and they have actually a larger community of people and they are actively developing this platform, we thought, hey, let's bite the biscuit. Well, it's been the better part of a year and we have not missed Slack, as unfortunate as that might be for Slack. So there you go. Let's wind this thing down. There are 4-5 tools that are going to help increase productivity, that are going to help increase efficiency, that will help increase team communication, whether you're working remotely or whether you're working internally. This is a way to rally around the same campfire. I hope you got a ton of value out of this. If you did, I would so love an honest review over on Apple Podcasts or Spotify or wherever you are listening to this fine podcast. If you haven't yet subscribed, I would love for you to be able to do that. And of course, if you are looking for a way to accelerate your career and your life, definitely think about applying for membership over at facebook.com/groups/DPB Pro. That's where you can join my DPB Pro community, where you'll get connected with a couple hundred fellow like-minded individuals who are all aspiring for greatness, who are stepping into it, who are doing great things and seeing the world through a new lens in order to accelerate their career. You can do that over on Facebook. Love for you to be a part of that community. Until next time, guys, keep the playbook open and dominate. Michael Cirillo, and you've been listening to the Dealer Playbook Podcast. If you haven't yet, please click the subscribe button wherever you're listening right now. Leave a rating or review and share it with a colleague. If you're ready to make big changes in your life and career and want to connect with positive, nurturing automotive professionals, join my exclusive DPB Pro community on Facebook. That's where we share information, ideas, and content that isn't shared anywhere else. I can't wait to meet you there. Thanks for listening.